created by God at creation.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about like chronologically, how did like time frame wise?
Um,
Not billions of years.
that they were created with the other animals that he created in creation.
He means like.
And then
Were they with Adam and Eve? Were they made? Were they
yes,
made before
Yes,
Adam and Eve?
Adam and Eve.
They got
They couldn't be before Adam and Eve.
They could have been.
no,
They could have created dinos and then like after that created Adam and Eve. Like
no,
huh?
because the world was without form and void, so
Yeah, true.
there wasn't life
So,
before.
so then when Adam and Eve were around, there were dinosaurs?
Yes.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then
everyone thinks it's like.
Every time I've ever asked a preacher that, they're like, well, they just kind of just don't really give you an answer. They just kind of tell you, do your own research of the Bible.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay.
Because they don't know.
You want to see a zombie dodo?
Let's see. We have a lot of apologists.
Really?
I really hope it doesn't say that I have to.
Like, we just trust what the Bible tells us.
I'm just gonna put it over this way. I want to see if it'll actually work.
At some point, maybe at the flood, they were.
Maybe the flood killed the dinosaurs?
Possibly.
It is ours. It's a zombie. It's a zombie dodo.
Not sure. Sometime after that, maybe.
Then why do you think that, like, that people think it's the meteor that killed the dinosaurs then?
What's that?
Why do people think it's a meteor that killed the dinosaurs?
Because
they're trying to.
Because it's a theory.
They're trying to say, oh yeah.
They're trying to say that they have to say something other than it was God.
They're trying to fill the gap of
their
theory, basically, is what's happening.
They're guessing.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
They're filling the gaps of what it is. Yeah.
That's exactly right. They don't know, so they're trying to...
Right. Fill the gaps with a guess.
You're loud.
Right.
Yeah.
You're loud.
No, I'm not. You can't hear me if I'm not.
You can hear you fine.
Let me see.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
That actually would make sense, yeah. Because if you think about it logically, like Noah would not have been able to put any dinosaur, as far as the size that we found in fossils, on the boat that God provided him to make.
How about if they were babies?
What?
If they were baby dinosaurs.
If they were baby dinosaurs, yeah. So you think that maybe the dinosaurs survived after Noah? Then?
Maybe. Let me see.
Huh. That's interesting.
Answers in Genesis. I'm looking here what they say.
The only thing I could think of is that the Bible does talk about behemoths. But it doesn't specify what the behemoths are.
Well, but they're huge. They're monsters.
Yeah. They're just big creatures.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah.
What?
I've also heard the biblical definition of the unicorn is there's a preacher that once told me that it was a rhino. That the Oxford Dictionary of the unicorn is actually a rhino. Like it's because a unicorn is a animal with one horn, and the only thing within in existence is a rhino that has one horn and is a behemoth.
Yeah.
So.
Christian, look at my screen. On live stream.
And then And then there's also what is it called? The Thunder or something? I forgot what isn't it? It's like an apocalyptic creature. It's in the Bible.
What is
it?
Can
you hear me?
Was like a sea serpent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. If you stream it, I'll be able to watch it.
I'm streaming.
I'm talking about streaming on the Discord.
I can't.
Oh, okay. You can't stream it while doing that now. Gotcha. I've got to go.
Listen to this. According to the Bible, humans and dinosaurs originally lived at the same time. They were not separated by millions of years. There are many biblical and extra-biblical clues that humans continued to have first-hand knowledge of dinosaurs after the flood.
Wasn't the biblical narrative of it is that we've only been around for, like, I think 7,000 years, because 1,000 years is a day and a day is 1,000 years. And then also, like, God said that He made the universe in a week, you know, 7 days. So
yeah, that's not really.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You watching?
I've heard that before.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it just means that to God it's, you know, time is quick, or, you know, it's there's no time. He's not bound by time, by our time.
Yeah, like if you were in heaven, there would be no sense in time, basically.
Right. But
our time passed differently than it does here.
Right. But you heard that about the dinosaurs.
Another way of looking at it is also, like, for me, is like we see, like, our point of view of things. God sees everything. God sees all, like, points of view of what's going on.
Right.
Like.
So, are you familiar, Christian, with Answers in Genesis? Huh?
Okay.
Are you familiar with that?
What part of Genesis are you referring to?
No, I'm saying there's an organization called Answers in Genesis.
Oh, no, I've never heard of them.
Oh, you need to look it up. You have internet, right? On your phone?
Yeah. That's how I'm talking to you.
Yeah. Look at answersingenesis.org. Okay. And it talks about...
First, look at my stream.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, baby. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's a cool dodo.
Did you see it?
Show me a dodo.
No.
Yeah, see the dodo. Yeah, you're looking at a dodo.
Yeah, I know, but look. Look at...
It's purple?
No.
Oh, it's a zombie dodo.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Cool. Anyway, what were you saying, Mike?
But I'm looking at a lot of information about dinosaurs in the Bible on there. And they're basically an apologetic website and organization that explains apologetics of the literal 7 days of creation, literal 7 days of creation, and that the earth is a young earth, basically. Not billions and billions of years old.
I was taught the whole million years thing
Yeah.
all throughout school, but like it always conflicted with like the teaching that I was learning like Bible school. So
right.
as a child, it always confused me. It was like, what the, like that's very contradictory.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
I think that science is always changing on what they believe, and then the Bible always the same. Like,
right. Exactly. And that's because they have no scientific proof.
Right. It's funny, they'll go and they'll try to disprove the Bible, and then they'll be like, "Oh, we found this," and then they'll go and later on find out that find another evidence that proves that the Bible was right all along.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, the scientists cannot follow
the further you try to disprove God, the further you're going to prove Him.
Right.
Like,
well, the scientists can't have a scientific method of something that happened millions of years ago, because you have to be there and see it and experiment with it, and
yeah,
it doesn't work.
Yeah. Exactly.
So everything is not a fact with evolution, or
like, how do you test something that you can't observe?
Right. You can't observe it.
You can't.
It's not observable.
Yeah, so how do you test that? You can't.
You can't.
You can maybe test
You
something
believe
that's here,
right.
physical right here, but like you can't prove that that's how it happened back then.
Right.
Like,
it's a theory.
Right.
It's a theory. And they believe it. It's belief. We believe that this is what happened because it makes more sense to us.
Not only that, but God and also the apostles left this evidence for us to be like, okay, this is what we're supposed to believe in, you know?
Yep.
The apostles and Jesus left this as a guideline and also as a stepping stone to understand our world around us.
Yep, but since
I don't think the world's going to progress until we actually accept that the Bible. I don't understand why the Bible isn't considered a history, like in like modern times now. Like we don't consider, like nowadays they don't consider it history anymore.
Yeah.
Like in schools they don't teach it as history. Like
why?
It's not. It should be though.
Why? Why do they not?
Because it has to do with Jesus. Because it has to do with God, and they want to take that out of there.
Yeah.
And Satan rules this world. That's why.
That's why.
And Satan's the author of confusion. He wants to confuse us.
Exactly.
If you're confused, then you're easier to control.
Yeah. That's it. But yeah, look at Answers in Genesis. There's a lot there on the Ark, on Old Testament, creation and scientific things. They're the ones that have the Ark in Kentucky.
Yeah.
The Ark exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of that?
I've heard about it, yeah.
Yeah.
Bill Nye, actually, I watched an interview of the guy who built it, and Bill Nye actually visited there.
Yeah.
And they had a debate about it.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
He was like, there's no way that there could have been that flood because there's erosion that's happening and all. It's like, and the guy that made the museum was like shaking his head like, you weren't there, dude. How do you know?
Yeah.
Like, you don't know.
Right.
Like, you don't know if that's how it happened.
Yeah.
He's actually giving Bill Nye measurable evidences of like how it could have happened, and then like Bill Nye is just denying everything and just trying to convince him.
trying to change the subject.
Well, he would combat him, and then he would try to counter him with something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Opposite. That is funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've asked you this, but what is your stance on the Big Bang Theory? Like, what's your thought process on that? Like, if that is biblical or not?
No. Well, in one sense, God spoke.
Does it depend on like what you believe in it?
God spoke.
What it is?
God spoke, and boom, it happened. Bang, it happened. Right? God created it.
Yeah.
That's the Big Bang.
Well, to me, okay, so have you heard of like how like the history of like how he came up with the Big Bang Theory and like all that?
Ooh.
So the scientist who actually came up with the Big Bang Theory actually was a Belgian priest. He was named Georges Lemaitre or Lemaitre. I've heard people say it different ways. But he was a very famous scientist, but he was a preacher, and also he was a Belgian preacher and also a scientist. He's a theist. You know, he believed in God and also that. And he said, in his theory, he said it is measurable by science that the universe, they're noticing that the distance between stars and planets is growing as we go. Just like kind of like with the plate tectonics, like with our continents, they're separating. Same thing with the planet. Same with the planets and the stars. The universe is stretching.
Right.
The Bible, and that actually is congruent with the Bible. That the Bible actually says that God stretches out the heavens.
Yeah.
It talks about that, and then he says if you were to reverse that expansion, reverse the distance between that, and go and try to minimize it, and go backwards, like rewind it all.
Right.
If you did all that, there would be a singularity event that would happen. Because all of that pressure of everything that's in the universe would condense into one point eventually. And then there would be immense to create. He said to create a universe, there would have to be immense amount of pressure, and immense amount of pressure would start to create heat from that, and that immense amount of pressure and heat eventually, boom. And he was explaining this to a radio jockey, to a radio guy. And he said, "Oh, like a Big Bang." And he said, "No, not like a Big Bang. It would actually not be a bang at all, because it would be more like a flash of light, like it says in Genesis. God said, 'Let there be light,' in the beginning of everything." Mm-hmm. He said because there is no sound in space. Space is a vacuum.
Yeah.
If there was when there is explosions in space, there's no sound. Is what he said. And so he said it would only make sense for it to be exactly like the way Genesis is. And he said that was his theory, and he actually called it the primordial egg, was what he called the theory. But because of the fact that record guy, the radio guy said Big Bang, it got popularized as that theory. And then the atheists got a hold of it and were like, "Oh, we like this theory," and so then they ran with it.
Yeah.
And they turned it into not that God did it, that the universe just created itself.
That it just happened by itself.
Yeah.
And all that matter that was all.
Creator,
And all that.
Yeah, the original. Go ahead.
And all that matter that was just there and had so much pressure and so much heat was always just there.
Yeah.
And
in his theory, God created all of it.
Right.
Like God created that. God was creating that, all that pressure and all that heat, and then eventually everything was created. Like,
well, God said, "Let there be light."
Yeah. And then
there was light.
Everything else. After that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So it is very congruent with the Bible. It's just the atheist got a hold of it and turned it into, oh, God has nothing to do with it.
Right.
And the original God said no.
Right.
God is the forefront of how it happened. Like, he's the source of it.
Right.
That's the thing. That's the difference between all of it is, like, where do you find your source of where it comes from?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
You can look at the same evidences and then say, oh, this came from nothing, or it came from God.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Another theory I like is there's what's called so this isn't even a theory. So did you know that there's actually there's something what's called the cell adhesion molecule?
Yeah.
You'll have to look this up. Either Tiffany can look this up, or you can.
I've heard of it. Yes.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that.
You've heard of it? Yeah. The cross thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. The laminin?
Yes.
That's crazy though.
Yeah.
It's like that's what holds us all together on a cellular level.
Yeah.
Like, they need to teach children that. Like, because that is the building blocks of what keeps our cells together.
Yeah.
And they don't teach that because it glorifies God.
Yeah. Of course.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. Yep.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah. It is. That is amazing.
Yeah.
But this world wants to be smart without God. We just want our wisdom, man's wisdom, to be greater than God.
That's where we draw our wisdom from, is God. Like, because we come from God, we're supposed to draw our wisdom.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we come from. Why would we not want to draw our wisdom from that?
Yeah.
People are just stupid.
Yeah, they are.
People think, oh, it reminds me of like a child that think they're better than, think that they know everything.
Yeah.
And they don't have to listen to their parents. Like.
Yeah.
From someone who lost both their parents, like, you don't really appreciate your parents until you lose them.
Yeah.
Like, until you, like, know they're gone. Like, and eventually that time will happen where the Holy Spirit will not be here to guide us, and that's when people will realize, like, oh gosh, like.
Yeah.
God is the source for me. Is like, I feel I've always been taught God and the Holy Spirit and all that. They're the source of love. So like when like the Holy Spirit is not here in this world, and like everyone like we're gonna be gone, we're gonna be raptured before then. But like those that are left behind and those that like are gonna have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be no love in the world. Because God is the source of love. God's the reason to love.
Right.
They won't realize that.
Yeah.
Who? Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. People don't realize that.
Yeah.
Complete heartbroke, drowning in my own emotion.
Oh. She's humming to herself.
Singing.
I want you to know I absolutely do love your daughter. I only want what's best for her. I want what's best for both of us. Like, I want both of us to thrive and everything and do good. I was talking to her about her Avakin friends, she's got I'm sure she's told you about it, how that they've got marriages and stuff in Avakin. And I'm just like, I don't mind the whole role playing thing. That's fine. That's the fantasy thing of it. But these people, she. kind of making a mesh of everything.
Oh, who dat?
Yep.
It's coldish.
Turning everything gray.
Yep.
It's coldish.
The best coldish ever.
Is it cold in your chat?
Yeah, it got cold in here.
You need a blanket?
I don't even know this song.
But yeah.
I haven't.
It's pretty bad. Whenever like there was this one superhero movie I watched, and I'm not actually even that big a fan of this hero anyway. But I watched Aquaman. This doesn't really ruin it. It's like the very beginning of the movie. So like Aquaman, they're like in a submarine tank, and the bad guy and his dad is like stuck, and they're drowned. They're about to drown. And like Aquaman's like supposed to be the hero of the story, but he just leaves them. Like he just leaves them to drown, and the son he survives, but the father doesn't. And like he like goes and has like a revenge story, and like that's the one movie that it's like, okay, for me, like in the middle of watching it, I was like, okay, maybe like it kind of convinced me. It was like he was kind of like he wasn't in the right for taking revenge, but I understand why he was mad. Like when like me being a fan of superheroes, you get me more invested in the villain than the hero. You failed in my eyes. Like you failed as a story writer, because like if I don't relate to the hero as much as if I relate more to the villain, like that's not a good thing.
Right.
That's a very bad thing.
Yes. And that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah, because like heroes are supposed to like protect the innocent. Heroes are supposed to, make sure even if they're the villain, like you're supposed to save people. Like, back in the day, like back whenever I was a kid, and probably even whenever you were younger, like heroes like saved people no matter who they were.
Yep.
Like even if they did evil, you still saved them. You threw them in jail, but you still saved them.
Right. Yep. So I haven't.
I'm getting on Red Dead
for several years. They went woke.
Yeah.
I do not support anything Disney.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they've even got a show now. They've got a kid show now, starring a trans kid.
Yeah.
From what I saw.
They're part of the ideology of, the Democrats. The wokeness.
Yeah.
Do everything.
Okay, I'm going to Red Dead.
Against God and.
Dude, so fucking well.
That he stands for good.
Oh crap, I'm gonna die.
And the Ark.
I remember when I was a child, like, Disney used to teach you morals.
Yeah.
Like, you used to be able to go out of a Disney movie or a show or whatever and be like, okay, this is the moral I could take and use in my life.
Right.
And now it's became, oh, we'll just tell a story and then, like, we don't care about what moral they learned from it.
Oh no. They're pushing a woke moral.
Oh, yeah.
That you accept
if you can call
everybody.
it a moral. If you can call that a moral.
Yeah.
Like...